Hi. At first I thought about making like some cute animations for every scenario that I'm going to tell you guys about today, but I realized pretty quickly that I was way too lazy to draw so much. So what I am going to do instead is to do a speed paint and just talk over this speed paint, and you just have to imagine the scenarios for yourself, with the only visual being, this little drawing. I want to say that I am not a professional. I don't do much shading. I don't do such realistic artworks. You're gonna see me draw wrong, accidentally paint the whole body of the character because I forgot to fill in one little pixel. But I hope you can enjoy the video anyway. So, welcome to what I would like to call the Scenario series, but I don't even know if it's gonna be a series. It may just be this part, and then I'll never do a sequel or another scenario ever again. Basically, what I'm doing is looking through a certain scene of a DCLA show and speculating different scenarios that would have happened if the scene had gone differently. The scene we're going to look at today is at the end of episode 10 of season 3 of Soy Luna. So the context for this scene is that Luna has for the past episodes felt that she might have feelings for Simon, and after some encouragement from Nina, she decides that she needs to tell Simon this. So right after they have performed on stage, Luna is about to tell him backstage, but Simon has something to tell her too, and Luna lets him go first, and he tells her that he's in love with Ambar. This leads to Luna never telling him that she has a crush on him, because, well, it's hard to tell that after he has told her that he's in love with someone else. But Simon knows her very well, and he can tell that there is something with her that she doesn't want to tell him, and he will never find it out, ever in the show. He just will always know that there was something with Luna in this moment that she never told him about, and he will never know about. And some episodes later, Luna sort of got over this crush and realized that maybe it had to do with the fact that she had been arguing with Matteo and Simon was there, and she got confused and mixed friendship feelings and romantic feelings, so like in the end it didn't really matter. However, I want to explore what would have happened if Luna spoke first. I want to say right off the bat that none of these scenarios will be like ridiculing Luna or Simon in any way. The reason I'm saying this is because the people I've seen focusing the most on this scene online are what I would call the extreme Simbar shippers. Of course, Simbar is the most popular ship in the show, but these are the types of shippers that focus on them on the expense of every other character. And they often heavily dislike Luna. They hate her and Simon's relationship. They think that their friendship is a joke, that Luna only plays with his feelings, and that she is the worst friend you could have. And with Ambar, they basically are as annoyed with Luna as Ambar is. Like, they think that everything that Ambar does to Luna, Luna deserves, because Ambar did the right thing according to them. And so, if Luna spoke first, In their mind, they wish that Simone would say something along the lines of, well, that sucks because I love Amber, so fuck you. In your face, Luna, that's what you get for playing with my feelings. And I'm not one of those people that thinks that Simone would ever say that. Not from the relationship that him and Luna have. And we all have characters that we find annoying and that we can not appreciate even when they do something nice, because their presence is just annoying to us. However, I think that people can go a bit far when they say stuff like wishing that Luna would die because they find her so annoying. Because, yes, I have seen people wishing that Luna would die, often hoping that Amber would kill her.
She's a child.
I wanna look at these scenarios realistically, and realistically, Simone would never yell and laugh at her face and be like, haha, sucks to be you. He's not like that. I may have a biased view myself, and these scenarios may be also from my biased view, but I am trying to make them as realistic as possible. If you want to know my opinion about Luna and Simone, well, those two characters share my number 2 spot of favorite characters in the show, which means I care a lot about both of them. And I think they have one of the most beautiful relationships in the whole show. Their short dating period in season 1 I think was really cute. And yes, it was a little awkward, but in the end, dating was a really good experience for them. And it just made their relationship even closer when they realized that they are better off as friends. And they will always have each other's backs. And them in season 2 were just amazing. They can just go back to being the best friends they always have been, and there is no awkwardness, there is not anything of that. And no matter what, they are each other's favorite people. They are soulmates. No matter what, no one will make Luna as happy as Simone does, and no matter what, Simone will always get inspired to write song thanks to Luna. No one else. It doesn't matter if he dates another person, Luna is always the person he calls when he needs inspiration for a song. I am what you call a multi-shipper. And I was a bit afraid that because I liked Luna and Simone so much that I wouldn't enjoy Simone and Amber. But I was so wrong, because as soon as Simone and Amber started going on, I was like, okay, yeah, I get it, oh my god. I love them as much as the average person, and I was fully on board with this. However, then comes the beginning of season 3, and suddenly and without warning, Luna gets a crush on Simone again. And for all of season 2, the first time I watched it, I was completely fine with them only ever being friends. I was like, yeah, their thing was really nice, but it's so nice that they are now friends and it's beautiful. And then season 3 just picked this up again. And so I was like, okay, I guess that they are going to do some sort of like ending, like a wrap up with this, because I knew that Simba was endgame. And instead what happens is that Luna is about to tell him, and he hits her that he's in love with Amber, and for the ones that only ship Simba, they get super happy. For the ones that only ship Lumon, they get crushed, I think. And for me, as a multi-shipper, I glitch out. My program stops working. I am simultaneously happy and simultaneously crushed because I care about both of these characters so much. And in some way I just wish that they did this better. They could have just not done this thing, because if they just kept them as they were in season 2, I would have been fine. I wouldn't even have thought about it at all. But because they had to bring up Lumon again, I hope that they would have a better wrap-up. Because I am going to admit the only wrap-up the show has on these two is Simon later in season 3 saying that he was quote-unquote confused and thought that he liked Luna. And I am like, confused? You don't move to another country to be with your best friend because you are confused, Simon. He was very aware of his feelings. Plus, I would argue if Lumon didn't happen, then Simbar wouldn't have happened. The first one needed to happen for the other one to even occur. And I am in a constant struggle where I think that Ambar and Simon are superior, but Simon is a better option for Luna because I don't like her and Matteo at all, and I don't like her and her other love interest either. And the best thing would have been if the three of them just ended up in a poly relationship. But Ambar and Luna are cousins, so honestly Luna should just have been ended up single, because that would have worked great for her too. Anyway, all of these scenarios that I will present will eventually lead to the canon endgame, so Simba will still be endgame and Luna, I guess, have to date Matteo. These scenarios, I think, may be just ways for me personally to maybe like wrap up Luna and Simon's love story, because I didn't appreciate that they spat in our faces. And as a multi-shipper, I am very okay with Simba being endgame, but I just want to have a nice closure on Limon. So, here are the scenarios. Scenario 1 is the most awkward when it happens. Simon gets quiet and Luna notices that he has an uncomfortable expression. She asks what's wrong and he says, well, I was going to tell you that I'm in love with Ambar. And Luna goes, oh, I'm sorry. No, it's okay. No, I never should have told you. I didn't know. No, Luna, it's okay. No, I'm sorry. Forget what I said. And she just runs away. So initially the scene gets pretty awkward. But I'm not going to just include the very scene it happens. I'm going to explain the aftermath. In this scenario, Luna avoids Simon quite a bit, until the two eventually somehow end up alone in the same room. Maybe Simon dragged her into backstage, or he came to her house to talk. Either way, the two talk and Luna apologizes and said that she would never have told him if she knew that he was in love with Ambar. And Simone says that, well, you can't help how you feel. And it's okay. Luna then comments about, isn't it unfortunate that we fell for each other at the wrong time? And Simone chuckles and he's like, yeah. And yet, here we are, as close as ever. Best friends forever. And the two of them hug, and maybe they come up with a song together about how they fell for each other at the wrong time, and yet they always stick together and always have each other's sides. It's a sweet ending. And a sweet closure on their love story. Scenario 2 is that after Luna tells him he's silent for a moment. He doesn't know how to feel, and then he starts to laugh as Luna stares at him with an unsure expression. Simone then asked, "Are you sure?" And Luna is like, "Yeah, I'm in love with you." And Simone tells her that he's not really sure how to react. He calls her brave for telling him and says that due to their close relationship, he'll always be there for her, but he's not sure how he feels himself. He's always loved her, and for a big part, he has loved her romantically. However, he has started to move on now, and so he says that for the moment, the two should just stay as they are. But he gives her a hug and says that he's always gonna be here for her. And later in the season, Luna is realizing that she might have confused her feelings as romantic, and she talks about it with Simone. He says that he had a feeling that this was the case, and the two hug it out. Also, Simone makes a comment of, "How isn't it funny how we sort of had a crush on each other in the wrong point?" And they laugh about it. So, pretty similar to the first scenario, but they kind of like solve it out immediately instead of having someone awkwardly walk away and apologize. You will notice that a lot of these scenarios are pretty similar to each other, but they also are a bit different. So scenario 3 is a bit similar to scenario 1, but also a little more bittersweet. As Luna says it, Simone once again goes, "Oh, the thing is, I was gonna say, I'm in love with Ambar." It gets quiet, awkward. Luna says, "Oh," and Simone says, "Yeah." And they both have no idea how to move on from here, so they both leave. But they promise each other to eventually talk about it. And they do. Luna apologizes for telling him she had no idea. If she knew that he was in love with Ambar, she'd never tell him. And Simone tells her that she has nothing to apologize for. She can't help how she feels, but he says he also can't help how he feels. He thinks that it's great that they can be so honest with each other, and that he was in her position 2 years ago. Luna chuckles slightly at this and makes a comment how the tables have turned. Simone goes, "Yeah, look at us, falling for each other at the wrong time." They are going to comment this very thing in a lot of scenarios. Then it ends and they sort of don't ever bring it up again. So it's kind of a bittersweet ending. In the next scenario, Simone does not know what to answer, and he doesn't have time to answer because the show goes on, so he has to go out and watch the next performance, and it's the Red Sharks that perform. But as he sees Ambar perform on stage with the Red Sharks, he gets reminded of her badness. Now, in canon, obviously he knows it's good in her because his whole deal is that he thinks that he can fix Ambar, and he knows that there is light behind the darkness. But in this scenario, he starts to doubt it. He starts to get reminded of Ambar's flaws and start to wonder if maybe she isn't the best person, and maybe he's just and he starts to doubt his own feelings for her. So he decides that the best thing would to maybe go with Luna. So he goes up to Luna and he apologizes for not answering when she told him, but he has an answer now. He kisses her. They have a great time for a little while. However, Luna can feel that Simone is not as into it, and he sort of forces it, the way she kind of did after a while when they dated in season 1. But Simone is more over-exaggerating about it. She is simultaneously also starting to wonder if she had confused their friendship for something more as well. Simone also seemed to be extra into her every time Ambar was in the room, and Luna felt like something was off with this. Eventually they have a talk. Simone is like, "No, but I love you, I promise," and Luna shakes her head. They end things off before it potentially could ruin things between them. So things are a bit awkward for a while, but Luna and Simone soon get back on track again like they always do. The only funny thing from this is that Simone also was acting extra into Luna in front of her parents, and it was so obvious that he was exaggerating, but he stayed in the act, and so Monica and Miguel kind of make teasing comments about this for the rest of the season, especially after him and the roller band moves in. The final scenario I have is that Simone is again silent for a few seconds, and then he lights up. He says, "Oh, that's what I was gonna say." He lies, but he doesn't want to hurt her feelings, so he lies. So now they are dating. And while everything feels amazing for a while, Luna soon starts to wonder if this was truly what she actually felt. She tells herself it is, and what's really fun is that Simone also is trying to act so in love with her as possible. So Luna suddenly feels like maybe she confused her feelings, but she doesn't want to break things up with Simone because she thinks he genuinely has feelings. And Simone acts like he's in love with her because he doesn't want to hurt her feelings. Eventually, everyone around them wonders why they act so weirdly with each other, and some are even kind of concerned about them. They also keep this act up for at least 10 episodes because Luna thinks that the doubt she is feeling is just nervousness of dating Simone again, but this time it's gonna work out, and she also kind of wants to forget Matteo. And Simone kind of has the mindset of Luna in season 1 that he loves her so much that if he tries, he will eventually feel the same for her. He's also very in love with Ambar, but he's doubting that if it would work. So he tells himself that he's better off with Luna. It's so perfect anyway, since he always used to wish that she felt the same. It ends with them both realizing the other might not feel that in love with the other, but they won't call each other out. So they mentally start to compete and see who's gonna drop the act first. After some incredibly aggressive love gestures and maybe like a duet that kind of freaked out everyone watching it, the two finally have to just confront whatever the heck they're doing. Luna says how it is. She started out truly thinking she was in love with him, but the further it went, the further she doubted it, and she stayed because she didn't want to back out, especially since what happened last time. Simone starts to laugh and explains to her that he himself wanted to convince himself that he loved her back because it would be so perfect. Also, he used to really love her like that before, but he too starting to feel doubts about it. The two are unsure what to do from here, and they laugh about how much they have embarrassed themselves. But being best friends, they soon will very much joke about it, and they end up realizing how their friendship will never ever end, no matter what is happening. They are soulmates, just not necessarily romantically, even when they want to try. So that's some scenarios I think could happen if Luna spoke first. I'm not saying that I prefer any of them of what happened in canon, but it's interesting to speculate what would happen. So as you could tell, a lot of these scenarios were pretty similar, but they had a little bit different outcomes. Personally, I think that it would have been funny if they had sort of like a reverse season 1 where Luna and Simone had switched roles. But what do you think would have happened if Luna spoke first? Do you think it would have been really, really awkward? Do you think that Simone would have just like yelled at her and be like, "Ha! Well, sucks to be you because you have played with my feelings for 2 years," which I really don't agree that Luna has done at all, but some people seem to think so. What do you think? And what do you think about this concept? Do you like me having a ugly speed painting in the background, or would you rather me having like fully drawn pictures for every scenario? instead of me just talking? And is there any other scenario you want me to tackle in the future? Leave a comment. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.